Okay everyone, this is a how-to video on how to change the water pump in a 2000 Saab 9.5 wagon with the 2.3 liter inline 4-cylinder, turbocharged. That's it down there. Got a little bit of the work done already. I removed this upper motor mount here. Let me show you it over here. It's real simple. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. The fifth bolt is here. It's actually a nut, not a bolt. Okay. That's the rubber mount. Okay, there's also another nut or bolt actually down in here, smaller. Pay attention to that. This is what it looks like on the bottom. It's basically just a bracket. Okay. What that bracket does is it's this. It just holds this hose. Mine's clearly broke off, so it didn't really matter. But this is where the bigger nut bolts onto. I need to check this out. I'm not sure if that's normal, if that's good. I need to find that out. I think it's okay. Yeah, pretty sure that's fine. Anyway, pull that mount out. When you do that, the engine is going to lower. It's not going to lower like a ton, but don't panic. It will lower. Don't worry about it. You're not going to need an engine hoist to put this back on. And the reason why I say that is you're going to put it on a certain way. Okay? When you go to put that back on, you're going to put the piece in here, set it on here. You're not going to even tighten this nut up here. Okay? This has got room to wiggle. You're going to leave that room to wiggle so that you can get these 4 bolts started. Okay? Once you get those 4 bolts in and then snug them up, then you can worry about putting this last bolt in here. It'll lift that engine right back up. Should be good to go. But anyways, that's the end process. But I just want to explain that to you so you guys don't go into a complete panic when this starts lowering. To get the serpentine belt off, okay, this is what you do. Right here is your tensioner. Okay, you're going to need one of these. Long extension, 1/2-inch drive. Okay, you're going to take this and set it down into here like that. Okay, got just barely enough room over here. And then you pull it. You don't have to loosen anything, just pull it. Okay, once this mounts out of the way, you'll pull this way, reach down with your other hand, and just pop it off the pulley, off your power steering pump pulley. Okay, once that's off there, you can release the tension on that. Now, I want to show you something because from the factory, if you look right here at the tip of my finger, you can see it looks like a hole right there that runs all the way through this little barrel thing. And it is. There's an access hole through here. Now what this is for is you see this little tab? As you pull that tensioner this way, that tab will rotate up past that hole and you can stick an Allen wrench through that hole and then release the tension, and that Allen wrench will keep that tab in this tensioner from rotating back. Okay? I don't know. I didn't opt to do that. I didn't want to do that. It was just easier for me to pull it that way, use my other hand to pop the belt off and let the tension off. You do have to struggle with the belt a little bit because it's not going to just come out of here. You have to twist it sideways because it's so tight in that area. And just, a combination of going from here into the inner fender well, you have to remove your tire and get in through this little access hole and just remove it from all the pulleys and then just kind of work your way out of there. If you're doing this, check your belt. Okay, my belt's in good shape, but check your belt for cracks. Flex it backward like this and look for cracks. If you got cracks, just replace your belt. Okay, just do it right away. Don't take a chance on it. If that belt goes, you're down. You're down for the count. Everything's going to stop. Okay, your water pump, your power steering pump, everything's coming to us to complete halt. Your alternator, everything. So just replace your belt if it's got cracks in it. Now that you got your belt off, this is what we need to remove next. We need to remove this intake boot, this banjo fitting, this electrical connector. We need to, this nut right here, we need to remove this so that we can pull this tube out. Okay, we're going to pop that tube out of there, compress this fitting, take it off, and pull this tube out of our way. Okay, you might be able to do it with the tube in there. Just take it out of the way. Okay, better to have it out of the way than to sit here and struggle with an already cramped engine compartment. So take that out of the way. Once this is disconnected here, you're going to want to slide this off of here. Okay, try not to break it, and just get it out of the way. If you have to like swing it over this way and zip tie it to the fan, do what you need to do. Then you'll probably, then you're going to need to come in here, remove that bolt, and this bolt, so that you can get this bracket out of the way as well. Matter of fact, rather than trying to remove this from here, just remove these 3 bolts and then move the whole thing over. Just slide this off of the intake tube here. Okay? Once that's out of the way, once this is out of the way, and once that's out of the way, now it's time to remove this intake tube. Okay, this goes to your turbo straight down. So that might be a little bit of a pain in the butt, but you're going to have a lot of this stuff out of the way already. So you need to be able to gain access to that. There's a clamp that attaches that to the turbo that I can see. It looks like an Allen wrench. It appears to be, at least from the top here. Right there, the tip of my finger. I'll show you that for sure if that's the case later, but I think that's what it is. Okay, disconnect that tube from there. There's also, if you look right here, there's a rubber hose that goes into there. That'll need to be disconnected. And then I think that's it as far as, yeah, then this cast aluminum, I think that's aluminum, it's cast, but this intake tube will come out of there. Once that's out of there, then we're going to try to, what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to remove the water pump. I'll show you, or excuse me, not the water pump, but the power steering pump. I'm not going to show you how to do that just yet. Let's get past this section, and once all that stuff's off, then I'll show you that. So, all right, see you guys in a second. I did a little more than anticipated, just because my phone died when I was in the middle of filming, and I had to wait for it to charge up enough for me to reshoot the video because it didn't save it. Anyway, I got the power steering pump off. The hoses are still connected. You're not going to have very much room to move this out of the way, and the reason is if you look down in here, this hose right there, the one with the metal fitting, it drops down in here and goes back into like the front. And you're not really going to see that very well. You see it moving though down in here. There's not a lot of slack on that. So your best bet here is going to be to just pull this as far as you can this way. And hopefully that'll give you enough room. Okay, once that's over, here's what you need to remove to get the water pump out. First off, you need to remove this bracket that held the power steering pump. You see the 3 bolts right there, okay? The one down there, and the one right here. They're all 13 millimeter. That bracket will come right off, okay? From there, what you need to do is you need to remove the big coolant hose that goes to the radiator. Sorry about that. You need to remove this hose. I'm assuming it goes to the engine. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it goes, I don't know where the hell that goes. It either goes to the engine or it goes to the turbo. I can't see it. I see it a little bit, but I can't really see it. No, it goes to the engine. That's that metal hose, the big metal hose that goes around the engine. This top one, I really can't see where that goes. Actually, they both go to the engine. They're both right there. It's this one that goes that way into the rubber line and that one that goes that way. Okay, so you're gonna have to remove those. You'll remove that squeeze clamp there, and then this one obviously bolts. Not sure what size that is, might be a 10 millimeter. And there's a little clamp here. There should be an O-ring inside of there. Don't lose the O-ring. You're going to want to replace the O-ring. Hopefully your water pump will come with it. If it doesn't, then head over to Napa or someplace, or hopefully you got some O-rings in your shop. I do. So if mine doesn't come with it, I think I'll have an O-ring for it. So you'll remove those. Then you got to remove this banjo fitting down here at the bottom. Again, do not lose the washer, okay, that sits on the bottom between the banjo fitting and the water pump. You lose that, you're going to be hating life, because then you're going to have to try to replace that over something really small and really stupid. After that, after you get all those out of there, be prepared, because you're going to drop a bunch of coolant. Then you got to remove some bolts here. If you look right here, there's one bolt right there. There's one right next to it. But you can see this one much better right here. And then I believe there's two more bolts on the bottom side. See how this bulges out right here? That's because of the shaft from the pulley into the pump. On the bottom side of that bulge, there should be two more bolts down there, I believe. But once you have all these hoses out of here, you should be able to get in there, at least with an air ratchet. That's what I've been using. And let me tell you guys right now, this Ingersoll ratchet has made this job so much easier. Absolutely so much easier. If I had to be sitting here wrenching back and forth with my big fat monkey hands in a socket and ratchet, I wouldn't even be this far already. I'd be pissed off. Okay, there's just not a lot of room in this car. This will make your whole world better. If you're interested in this, I'll put a link down in the description. It came with the impact gun too. I'll put a link in the description where you guys can check that out. It's actually a pretty good deal, real good. Impact gun is strong enough to do lug nuts and everything, and then some. So, anyway, I'll talk to you guys in a second once I get this water pump off, and we'll just go from there. All right. Oh, I did want to say one thing. This bracket that was right here had the electrical connector here. I don't know how to remove this connector properly, and I broke it. I'm going to try to figure it out, hopefully before I shoot the last segment of this video, and I'll explain it to you if I can figure it out. If I can't, then you're going to have to look into it. What I'm going to have to do here, if you look, the electrical connector is still there, but the plastic that goes around it is busted. It's still in this other end. So when I go to put all this back together, I'm just going to drop some super glue around it and just plug it back together and let it dry like that. You might not be as lucky, so make sure that you know how to disconnect that properly. Outside of that, no issues. Make sure that you have torque bits. The intake, the cast intake that went to the turbo has a torque bit. And then on your water pump, this backside where the hoses go into, you don't get that with your water pump. Okay, you're just going to get the front side because that's where the impeller is and the bearings. This is just a housing here. All of those bolts that hold those two pieces together are torque bits. So make sure you have a torque bit set before you even attempt to do this, or you're just going to have your car apart and in pieces and pissed off because you don't have the tools. You pull all this stuff out. If you have any issues with your turbo or your exhaust, so I went and picked up the water pump. There was a little bit of a day delay because I had a snow issue yesterday. Doctor's appointment to make. Then I was just tired. I only got like 3 hours of sleep. So picked up the water pump yesterday. So I was figured I'd show you what we have here. Got this. This is the brand and everything. I picked it up from Advanced Auto Parts. I actually got a good deal on it because they owed me a 25% off or $25 off coupon from my last order. They never sent me the coupon in the email like they're supposed to, and which is weird because that's the second time I've qualified for one of those, and they never sent it to me. I had to call them, but it wasn't a big ordeal. I just called them to place the order, and they just credited it towards the order, and that's that. So makes me a little suspicious that maybe they don't ever send those things out to people. But when I call them, they give it to me, so whatever. Anyway, so this is it. It does come with the gaskets and the O-rings that you need. Okay, so don't go out and buy a gasket. And one thing that I did notice is that, like, through AutoZone or Advance or any of the local auto parts stores that had this water pump, they all offered a Felpro gasket, but it was something that you couldn't get at the stores. It was something that you had to only order online. Okay, I mean, you could probably get it at the store if you go to the store and have them order it, you know, but the stores don't have it in stock. I'm assuming this is why. I'm assuming because, at least with this brand, that it comes with the gasket and 3 O-rings. Okay, 2 larger ones, 1 smaller one. So that's awesome that that's in there. Let's get this opened up real quick, see if I can do this with one hand. And like I told you in the last video, that these things come with the pulleys on. You cannot remove the pulleys off of them. Well, I'm sure you can somehow, but you're not going to unbolt the pulley like you would think that you would normally be able to do. So here's what we got. This is basically how it sits in the car, okay? This is the view that we're looking at in the front of the car. Let's get some better light going on here. Actually, let me take this over here to where there's some actual good light. It just came into my shop. My fluorescent lights in the shop are pretty. It takes a while for them to get up to full brightness. So, anyway, this is the view that we're looking at inside the car. The power steering pump bracket sits right above here. So this is the bolt that we can't really see. We can, but we got to kind of look underneath. And this was the bolt that we could see from the front side. Okay. Now on the bottom, there's actually only one. Okay, so that's great. That means we don't have to struggle to try to get to it. It should be pretty easy. And like I said, you only get the front side of the water pump because this is the side that has the impeller, and then the bearings and everything. The back side is just a housing. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 torque bits that you need to remove to get the to get the front side separated from the housing. I was looking in there to see if it was possible to just remove the front without, remove these 3 bolts and then all of these. And I'm not going to say that it's not possible, but it doesn't look like it's a fun time. I'm going to take another look at it because it would be nice if I didn't have to remove any of those hoses going to the housing. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to be an easier deal for me to just remove everything and then bring it out here and do it that way. So that's what we're looking at. Here's the front. You can see the pulley. There's nothing there. There's no Allen key, nothing. On the back side, I can't tell if there's anything in there, so it might just be pressed fit. I can't tell. But either which way, you're not getting in there to remove that pulley. If you can remove the pulley, you're going to have to remove the pump before you can even access that. So anyway, talk to you guys in a second. Okay, so I got the bracket off here and the top 2 bolts off the water pump. I've got the power steering pump pulled out of the way. I wanted to show you guys something real quick. I got this top clamp for this hose pulled away. The big radiator hose clamp is pulled away. You have that banjo fitting down here. You're not going to be able to get to that with an air ratchet, so you're probably going to have to inch that one loose with just a regular box wrench. But what I wanted to show you is this. See the housing here? It actually goes into the block right there. Okay, so that's probably what one of the bigger O-rings is for. And then you have these 2 metal lines that come out. This here is actually, I don't know if it's meant to hold this tube in. I think it's probably doubling is holding this bottom tube in, and as well as a mounting bracket for this hose. You see it's actually attached to this metal hose, or pipe, tube, whatever you want to call it. Both of those run underneath the exhaust manifold and come this way. I'm a little concerned. What I may end up having to do is remove this nut right here, this bolt, because this is again a bracket holding that tube. Actually, I think this holds both of them, so I might have to remove. Yeah, it does. This is one tube, this is the other. They both mount to the same bolt. I may have to remove that just to give myself a little bit of slack to try to pull this out, because clearly this water pump has to be pulled this way. I'm not going to be able to pull it that way or this way because of that, because of the way the housing goes into the block. It's got to be pulled straight that way. That's going to pose a little bit of a problem if I can't move these metal tubes. So I'll most likely be removing that nut as well. Another thing, make sure, you might want to stuff a rag in there. I probably will at some point. There's just so little room right now, I don't want to do it. Make sure that you don't get a bunch of shit inside of your turbo or you're going to have problems. So, what is this? Awesome. I just discovered a problem. I've got a broken fitting here. I don't even know what that goes to. Maybe that's the cause of my hesitation. Okay. I'm going to have to go inside and figure out what the fuck that is. I don't think I just broke that. I think that's been broken. I need to figure out what that is, though. Clearly that's supposed to be attached to something that's clearly going to be a vacuum leak, and I need to figure out what that is. So I'll see you guys in a second. Once I figure that out and once I get this off. Okay, I don't have a water pump out, but I wanted to show you guys this. That broken plastic piece on this right here. Okay, first off, what this is it's called the boost control valve. Okay, I'm assuming it does exactly what it says. But this top hose here is the one that has the broken fitting, and yes, I did break this. Okay, I believe I did anyways. That has a plastic T fitting. Okay, it goes into here, goes into there, and then into this tube, which this tube attaches to here. Okay, so on the bright side, there's actually, I guess, a mod out there, and this may have already been broken. You know what? And it has been. If you look at that, there you go. See that? That brake is not clean. That's a dirty brake. This has been damaged, and this is probably where I've been having my issue with this thing not feeling like it has any power. What people are doing, they call it the bolt mod. They unplug this top hose and they're shoving a bolt in there to plug it up. Okay, which would eliminate the whole use of this tube that goes to here anyway. So basically I can take this and just route this straight into here, and it would act like that bolt mod that they're describing. And I guess what that modification does is this is supposedly got some sort of a valve, like a one-way valve inside of it. And if you're low on boost, if you plug that up, if you bypass that and plug that up, then it'll give you all the boost back. So I think what I'm going to do is just try to, I think I got a barb fitting, but not a three-way. It's just a two-way barb fitting for vacuum lines. I have to look around, but I'm pretty sure I have some. I think what I'm going to do is just try to run this hose here straight into that intake tube and see what happens. Then I won't have any need to plug this one up, just leave it alone. And if I see an improvement, if I see that hesitation go away, then what I'm going to do is go out and look for, that 3-way vacuum line thing, whatever the heck you call it, barb connector, and see if it, plug that in, plug it up right, and if it drives great without any issues, and then no problem. I guess what it is when this starts to go bad or something, I got to read a little bit more on it, but I guess or your turbo starts to lose pressure just in general. It's usually because of the bad valve in there. So I guess that's a quick fix for people that are having that issue, rather than going out and buying a new one of those. I guess that's what it looks like I'm reading. But again, I got to do a little bit more research. But that's what I'm going to do to fix that. And I just wanted to share with you guys what this was actually called and what it does. So anyway, talk to you guys in a second. Let's get back to the water pump. Okay, everyone. I ran into a bit of a problem. The torque bit size that you're going to need here is a T30. The problem I have is that, I don't know how well you're seeing this because of the light on here. They're rusted out inside. And I was able to get 4 of them out, and the last 3 I couldn't. So here's what I did. They just stripped out. So I did this on my oil pump, or not my oil pump, my oil drain plug. I couldn't figure out how to get it out. It just completely stripped out. So I got the idea to just take a new bolt and weld it to the head. So that's what I did on these 3, and I should be able to get them out. This one over here was actually coming out, but is stripping, which is fine, because I don't need this part of the housing anymore, and that's where the threads are. I'm going to get these out of here by all means necessary, even if I got to cut them off. Then I'm going to head across the street to Ace Hardware and see if I can find some of these that are a hex head instead of the torque bit to replace them with. So, talk to you guys in a second. Okay, so it worked. They came out just fine. Using a ratchet on them, came out great. So here's the water pump, and this has got a lot of damage on it. I can't really see the bearings, but you see that gap right there, and then over here it's touching. The bearings in this thing are just, look at that. They're just shot. They broke apart. So this thing had it. That's for sure. That's it. I'm going to head across the street, go grab those bolts. Hopefully I don't have any issues finding those. If they end up being a little bit longer, that's fine. The reason why I say that is because if you see here, all the bolt holes go all the way through, and there's nothing to get in the way of those. So if they end up being a little bit longer, like I said, that'll be fine. But I am going to look for metric head bolts, just because I think the thread's going to end up being metric too. But anyway, metric bolts, not standard, metric. Make sure the thread pitch is right so you don't strip out the new housing. So, okay, see you going. I got the new bolts in. Just for your own sake, information, I guess you could say. These bolts are 6 millimeter by 100. That's the thread pitch. Okay, coarse thread. I don't remember the length that I got these. They were exactly the same length as the factory ones. But while I was there, I went and got me a new one of these as well. This was also a torque bit. So for the sake of, it was a little bit rusty. For the sake of me not having issues getting that back on or taking it off, I decided might as well get one of those as well. All of them are 10 millimeter heads. These are not 8.8 bolts, these are 10 point whatever, 10.9 I think it is. It says on there, but I can't really read it. They're the stronger of the bolts. If you're gonna, this is, I believe this is cast aluminum or magnesium or something. So it's softer metal. So, 8.8 might get you, might do the trick, but if you can get 10, the stronger bolt, the 10.9 or whatever that is, get that. just because it's better. And I didn't get the type that needed a washer or anything. These have like a flange on the head. I don't know how well you can see that. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so all that's done. Put a little bit of, silicone around on both sides of the gasket. Now I got it all over my finger. So I'm just going to let that set up while I come over here and attempt to remove this O-ring, and I'm going to show you guys this. You see that's the flange part that goes into the block. That's where the water pump slides onto. I don't know how this is going to be a pain in the butt. Maybe I might change my mind about showing you guys this. I can't see what the hell I'm doing, so bear with me. There, for you. Until my hand gets in the way. I'm just using one of these small little screwdrivers to try to pry that off of there. Okay, I'm not going to show you guys because this is going to piss me off. Anyways, okay, talk to you guys. So, I discovered something. While I was trying to take that O-ring out of here, I realized, you know what, I think that comes out of the engine block. And it does. Okay, the reason why I thought of that is because in the water pump, it gives me 3 O-rings. 2 are the same size, 1 is small. I know where the small one went, and I know where one of the big ones went, but I didn't know where the other one went. So I was down there looking at this piece that goes in there, and I was looking at it and I was like, that's not part of the block. I wonder if that pulls out of there. So I started wiggling it and it was moving. So this little tab right here came in real handy to get that out. I came in through here with a flathead screwdriver and wedged it between this and the block and just kind of jimmied it out of there, just wiggling back and forth. So now that it's out, there is the other O-ring that goes in here. I took this over to the wire wheel and the grinder and cleaned up those grooves where the O-rings go in there. You want to make sure that's real clean. If you don't, then don't get mad if it starts leaking later. It's a lot of stuff to take apart on your car just to have that leak. So make sure you do that and then pop those O-rings on there. Alright, talk to you guys. Okay, so I got the water pump in. It's not all connected up. Got the 2 bolts and the one down on the bottom. If you look in here, I've got that piece all pressed in. I don't know how well you can see back in here. So you can see that little tab that I was telling you that's what you want to pry out with the screwdriver. So that whole flange with the 2 O-rings is pressed in there. Now I got to put the O-ring on this pipe, the smaller one, put it in here. Got to connect up this banjo fitting, put this hose back on here, put this hose back on here, and then if you remember, this hose is the one that had the bolt through that clamped this down. Okay, once that's all there, then I put this one last bolt in over here, and then yeah, that's it for the water pump. Then I come back on here and mount up my power steering bracket, and then mount up my power steering, and then connect my intake back together. So, okay everyone, it's all wrapped up. Tires back on, it's on the ground, started. I've been running it for a little while. What I ended up doing is I topped off my coolant reservoir over here, like all the way full. I disconnected this hose, and this might have been a little bit excessive, but I disconnected this radiator hose and poured a little bit of coolant down there. The engine block has coolant in it. The heater core's got coolant in it. Even the radiator has coolant in it. But I wanted it to create a little bit of pressure where it would dump some coolant into the water pump to, so it'll prime it and just get stuff flowing a little bit better. But essentially, because this is not like your old style where you can just fill up your radiator and just go. You got to let this thing you got to let your car run, let it warm up, and you see right now coolant's dropped down, I'm going to let it run and keep cycling for a little while. Go for a drive, come back and top this reservoir off. Not to the top, but to the full mark. But outside that, I mean, that's pretty much it. I did want to give you a little bit of a tip as far as installing this upper mount here. I started with this nut here. Take the rubber grommet out, the nut out, just set it aside, okay? Drop this down, get whatever nut or whatever bolt you can started first. This one started for me first. I snugged it down a little bit, I don't mean like snug down, but I just tightened it up a little bit where you can see that it started to raise the engine back up. Then I went over here and started with these ones. Once I got one of those in, lined up and threaded, pulled it up, pulled that one up, you know, not pulled the bolt up, but, you know, tighten it up or pull the engine up on both sides. Then the last two went in just fine. Then I came over here, put the rubber grommet in, put the nut in, tighten it down, everything's good to go. Oh, this intake tube. Down at the very bottom there was that clamp. I had to use a lot of extensions to tighten that up. I got big hands, so there's no way I'm getting down there with anything other than extensions. That was a little tricky getting that clamp positioned on the turbo properly and getting it tied up or getting it tightened up. I had to reach down with one hand on this side and kind of rotate it a little bit so I could tighten it up. But once it was in place, it wasn't too bad. I got it on there fairly easy. So that's pretty much it. It's a wrap. So thanks for watching. Like always, subscribe, comment, like. Go check out alvarezmetalworks.com, and as well as go like my Facebook page, please. The link is either on my website, at the top of my website, or it'll be in my YouTube channel homepage. So, yep, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Hope that helps you guys out. Talk to you later.